Network TSPN. And now back to Monday with Monique.
Welcome back to Mondays with Monique. Paul Sobon, Monique Grzaiadei, and Sobon Vineyard. So just to recap real quick, we're making a lemon shrimp in a white wine sauce with a little bit of garlic, shallots, and parsley, butter and olive oil. And just before we went to break, I was using this cool little tool here, which basically is just a small dicer. You can put anything in there, you turn it, done. All the cutting work is done for you. So I went ahead and added the garlic and the shallots already, and we're going to get ready to add the shrimp and the parsley here momentarily. And then Paul.
I'm just here talking about some of the great wines that we do, and I pulled a prop up that I brought with me. We were talking about the barrel tasting that happens, and this is called a wine thief. So they can be different shapes. This is rather long, curved, and dramatic looking.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
But the whole idea is that you can reach into, if barrels are stacked up, this is so you can reach into the hole where the bung hole where the barrel is, and you can put your finger over it once you're ready to draw a wine out and pour into multiple people's glasses.
What a neat tool.
To taste from the barrel.
Yeah.
So, there is something kind of magical and kind of cool about barrel tasting.
I think so too. It's
really
exciting because you feel like you're getting, the first try from, the regular public. You're getting one of the first tries of the wine, and then you sell futures also.
We actually don't sell futures, but a lot of people do that. They'll roll in a wine barrel into their tasting room every weekend, and they'll taste it. And futures can be good, they can be bad. Sometimes futures aren't really what you expected once the wine's bottled, because as we were pouring these 3 barrel samples, which have not been finally blended for bottling.
Right.
I mean, winemaking is an incredibly easy thing to happen. You could have apple juice on your counter, grape juice on your counter, and let it sit there for a week, and it'll be fermented, it'll be alcohol, it'll be wine. It's not going to taste very good. So,
right.
In the process that we do, it's obviously much more complicated than that, but there's these stages of blending, and we are getting ready to bottle 3 different wines this week that are all reserve wines, so they're all taken out of barrel. Each barrel will have a slightly different taste, even if there's 20 of them, 6 of them, 100 of them.
Oh, wow.
So once you blend it all together, there's your wine, but then you still may need to do some manipulation at that point with filtration, with maybe removing some of the tannins. There's lots of little things.
It's so technical.
Why they call it winemaking.
Right. It's just, I think it's a really technical business, and it's not put the grapes in, bottle and blah, blah, blah. There's just so many, so fine, minute
very much
tweaks to make it a certain way.
Yeah, very, very much.
It's a chemistry thing.
Well, it is very much of a chemistry, and it's art, it's chemistry, it's all these sort of things, and ultimately it's sales. You have to get out there and promote yourself, promote your brand, promote your wines, go out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spent the last week on the phone and on the internet, just online, dealing with people from distributors from Vermont to Chicago to Atlanta, arranging travel for the spring. I do a lot of traveling in the spring just to go promote our brand and go get that wine in the mouth.
Are you considered like the president of sales, or do you have other people that work in different regions that are selling the wines as well?
So my brother-in-law works for us full-time doing sales, but he basically California, mostly Northern California. So I'm in charge of grape growing, winemaking, and all sales. Okay. So I need to do, I do, and I don't mind it. It's not so bad. It's not so bad to go to Manhattan for 3 days and have a couple days to hang out and maybe work those evenings and stuff like that too. So everything's sort of east of the Rockies, which isn't bad. And my daughter, Camille, does sales, Arizona, Southern California, Southern Nevada.
Oh, that's great.
Going to start to move her into Texas and New Mexico, places that I'm going now. So she's getting her feet wet. She's getting more and more experience at it.
I was wondering what she's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she works at the winery full time, which is awesome. So she's doing tasting room stuff. She's doing a lot of stuff with the customers and starting to do some more marketing and sales, which is cool. She's a great ambassador for us because she's so familiar with it, and she's an only child, so she's very at ease talking to people and just selling herself and selling our brand.
And she's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Gotta have that one.
That always helps.
That does.
That always helps.
Well, what do you want to taste here?
Well, I think if we're going to do the shrimp, we should do a little Sauvignon Blanc, which is a classic blend there, classic match. So
it's ready.
So our Sauvignon Blanc is blended with about 5% Semillon and probably a couple percent Viognier. So it has that very sort of classic Sauvignon Blanc aromas, a little bit grassy, a little bit of the gooseberry aromas. We try not to make it too much too much to be the New Zealand style. The New Zealand style of Sauvignon Blanc can be a little bit over the top.
How does it differ?
Not quite as green smelling, green tasting. Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand can be incredibly refreshing, incredibly delicious, but rather green. Kind of hard to achieve from Amador County fruit. This is probably 70% Amador, and the rest from down the Rio Vista area.
Okay.
So slightly cooler along the river there.
Right.
Than we are up here.
A little damper too.
Yeah, a little wetter, a little damper, but it's as you say. Cheers. Yeah. Just easy, fresh.
Yeah, it's nice.
A little bit of tartness to it.
I like the tartness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's good. Very good.
Yeah, thanks.
And what year is it again?
This is 2013.
13.
So the present release of all of our whites, we do a Roussan, which is a Rhone variety. We do a Viognier, which is a little bit more familiar to people. We do a Sauvignon Blanc, and we do a Verdelho. So each Sobon estate has 2 whites, and Shenandoah has 2 whites.
Okay.
And then we do a rosé over here, which is an amazingly good rosé. And rosé is fun. Rosé is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's easy drinking. It goes really well with a lot of different foods.
It really does.
You know?
It really does. It can go great with this dish. It could go great with even some meat dishes or some tomato-based dishes. So
why don't we give it a try and see what it's like with the food? Help yourself. Couscous over here, and then long grain wild rice. And then we have the truffle butter, salt and pepper, green beans.
Wow.
From Provisions, they have that truffle butter that's really good.
That's perfect.
I love that. Let's see how it tastes with the wine.
A little olive oil, butter, little garlic, little shallots.
Can't mess anything up with that.
It's pretty hard to miss that. It's pretty bad. You know, and it's interesting with, we were talking about the Sauvignon Blanc being a little bit tart, and to any sort of fish dishes, any seafood dishes, you want that tartness. If it's not tart, it tends to sort of wash out the meal.
I agree.
And you're not really sure what your mouth is doing.
And I think with this, because this is also tart, there's quite a bit of lemon juice. They balance each other
They
out.
do.
This the wine doesn't taste quite as tart at the end as it did when I drank it without food in comparison.
Right, exactly.
So really, it kind of mellows it together.
And a very interesting point, when people are tasting wines in a tasting room without any food, or they're trying to get an idea what they like and how's it going to be with their dinner, I always try to convince people I'm doing tastings in stores is that, it's not a huge investment. Buy bottles of wine for $10 to $15, $20, whatever it is.
Right.
Take it home. Put some food in your mouth. Put a piece of meat. Put a piece of
Something
fish,
that'll go
bread,
with it
anything,
and bring it out.
Anything. Well, it's not going to compete against it. It's not just going to be, oh my God, my mouth is just being assaulted by the tannins or the acid or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So as you know, as a chef, I mean, you're trying to balance flavors all the time.
Always.
Right. And you don't want anything
Sweet,
to stand out and
sour,
go,
salty,
too much of that.
You just want the right combination so it tastes like what you're thinking it's supposed to taste like.
Exactly. And the power of suggestion, too. I mean, you can basically, with wine tasting, and people always want to know, what do I pair it with? And I'm not a trained chef, so I don't want to tell you how to design your menu, but you don't want something that's going to overpower and blow away. You don't want to have a petite syrah with poached fish.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's just going to be wrong.
No, it's just not a good thing to do.
It's just
not.
wrong.
Although I'll drink a Merlot with just about anything.
Right.
But it's pretty mellow, and I don't know. I like red wines in the wintertime more so than in the summer, just because they're kind of warm, and I don't know. I like them better. But every once in a while, I'll have like a Merlot going, and then I'll break the rule and take out maybe like something like this, but maybe a cheese appetizer with it, just something to kind of make it flow better.
Well, your palate knows also. You know what you like, and you know what you're ready for the different flavors that are going to happen for you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't do the same thing with the Cabernet, but I think Merlot is usually mellow enough to where it's not too overpowering.
Very cool.
But I cheat. I break the rules. My rules.
Well, number one rule of drinking: there isn't any rules.
That's right.
We all know that.
Exactly.
We all know that. And there are a few other fun events happening in Amador. So if you're obviously local, there's a Barbera Festival coming up in June, which happens. It's going to be happening at Montevina, Terra d'Oro this year.
Oh, okay. Instead of Cooper.
Instead of Cooper this year, there's There's a Start on Steiner. Steiner Roads has a little events they do probably every couple of months. And
I haven't done that yet.
Well, it's cool. It's just, it's not quite as huge and as organized, and it's generally appeals to 300 to 500 people. But it's nice because Steiner Roads, Renwood, Dillion, Deaver, Shenandoah, a few others, always doing something a little bit cool.
I think that's neat.
Yeah.
And I personally like the events that are smaller crowd. Just if you really want to try the wines and get the information on them from the people that are serving them, it's really hard to do when there's thousands of people through the place every day.
Yeah.
So the smaller events, to me, are much more effective.
Yeah, and the Behind the Cellar Door that's coming up is it's a big event, but all of a sudden from 20 wineries to have 2,000 people to all of a sudden at 40 wineries to have 2,000 people, it is more spread out. It's nice.
I covered it last year and the year before,
Yeah.
and it's just like you have all these great wineries, and it's so hard to even pick which ones you can get in a day.
Right.
So we try to shake it up each year.
2-day pass.
But, yeah.
Go
Exactly.
slow, get a picnic lunch, or just pace yourself, absolutely.
And a lot of times at Behind the Cellar Door, don't they they were doing like an around the world food pairing a couple of years ago.
Well, every winery's got something else going on. It's really kind of cool, and you can go by, look at the list of events and who's doing what from the program, from your ticket. There's lots of really great resources.
AmadorVintners.com has most of the information.
Amador, they do, and it's great. And it'll be. I grabbed this poster this morning from the vintner's office, and it's kind of a bit of a mock-up. It's not quite finished yet, but that is the poster, and it talks. Gives you the dates. March 7th and 8th. Right. Of 2015. So yeah, it's a fun event. And that's actually pretty mellow. It's pretty cool because you can, we've had everything from 65-degree days in March to snow on the ground, but it never really slows anybody down.
No, wine still tastes the same.
People have purchased their tickets, so they're coming.
I think it's more difficult when it's hot during the summertime to really taste all the wines and really get the full flavor because it's a little dehydrating.
Right.
Well, I'm going to have to say thank you so much.
Oh, well,
We're at the end of our time. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Mondays with Monique. Have a great day.
You're watching Amador County's local television network,